What's going on, everybody? Jordan back with another video, and I think we're gonna have a pretty good one. At least this series is gonna be a really good series for y'all. I can't wait to get started on it. But anyway, so I have went out and I bought a new car, and bought it, and it was supposed to already have built motor, built trans. It's gonna be a drag car, by the way. But it was supposed to already have built motor, built trans, and everything. And we kind of knew when we bought it that the motor was more than likely going to be gone out of it. He had told us he thought that it dropped an injector, just flooded or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he said, but something went wrong with it. So we got a new motor, which is sitting behind me. I'm not going to show it right now, but I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you all the new car. I've already painted it. We've got a bunch of work to do to this thing. I've got parts on the way for it. So without further ado, all right. As you can see, it is a Mustang. It was originally red, as you can tell by the interior. Everything has been stripped out, including the dash. Wiring, if you notice, there's not one bit of wiring up under the hood. This is the cable for the hood latch. It's not actually a wire. No wires under the hood. So right about here, it's getting chopped off, and it's going to be tubed front end. What I'm currently in the process of doing, you see I've got wire loom that's undone right here. My fuse box has been relocated from under the hood to inside the dash. So what I'm doing is all of this wire was wrapped around the top here and then back to here, which went to you had the brake booster up here and windshield wipers, and then you had like a brake distribution block that it plugged into, and ABS wire, which I don't need any of that stuff that's on this side, but I do need some of the stuff that plugs in on this side right here. You got a couple different connectors and a little module right there. So I do need some of the wiring on this side, but I don't need that 6 foot of wiring on that side. And there's the same thing on that side. So I can shorten all this wire here. I can shorten, you can just barely see it, that wiring harness right there. So, which is going to make it extremely simple under the hood. So you'll be able to see everything, engine and all. The only wiring harness that I'm going to have under the hood is the actual engine wiring harness. And even then, I'm going to try and clean it up to where it at least looks good under the engine bay. So right now, I'm in the process of tackling this wiring harness, trying to get it shortened, trying to get it all the wires that I don't need pulled out of this wiring harness. And like I said, I've already got the fuse box mounted where it's going to be at. It's not particularly mounted right now. It's just kind of sitting there where it's going to be at. We'll have to get into mounting it later. I got my dash over here. You can see it already came with a Kirky seat. So already good there. Peep a few things right there that we'll get into on later. Oh, you can see it a little bit better. We'll get into that stuff later. And these are not the wheels and tires that are going to stay on it. I actually had some SVTs, I think, wheels on it, skinny in the front, drag pack. And I didn't need them right now. Those are not the wheels that are going to be staying on the car. So I went ahead and got rid of them, just got some rollers. I had a buddy that was needing them. So he traded me out. So I got these for right now, just stock wheels, just to roll around on until I'm done with the project, and then we'll be able to go racing. So anyways, I'm gonna set y'all up on the tripod, and I'm gonna get to doing some of this wiring here, and yeah. So I've got the all the wiring undone now. We're not done with the wiring, but we've got it all untaped and exposed to where I can start shortening everything. And we've got all the wires that I'm not keeping, that I'm 100% not keeping, cut back and out of the way. That way, because my plan is to get the wires shortened in the car. That way I know how short I can actually make the wiring harness. Because if I just did this all outside of the car, there's a big possibility that whenever I go to put it in the car, that it's not going to reach. So I'm doing it. It's a little bit of a pain to do it in the car because you're in a confined space and, you know, whatever. But like I said, you know, it'll be all right because I don't want anything to not fit. So I feel like this is the best way, easiest way to do this. This is all the wire that I've gotten rid of so far. Soon to be a bunch more. So what I'm gonna do is actually, so like for instance on this wire right here, I'm gonna snip it about right here somewhere, and then I'm gonna take it and drag it out until I find the other end of it, which is gonna be in here somewhere. I think it's maybe right there. No. Anyways, you get the point. So I'll trace it until I find it over here in this end, and I'll cut it again, probably somewhere right in here, and I'll take them and splice them together so that, and I want to leave enough room that way when I get this done, I can actually tuck this wiring harness up under the dash somewhere. So probably need to make it long enough where I can reach it up there. But, you know, it is what it is. So we're going to get to doing this. And the process that I'm doing is I do have some of these blue butt connectors here, which is not going to be ideal for this. But I don't think the other connectors I've got is going to be big enough for wires like this right here. And even that blue one might not be big enough. But what I'm doing is I've got this little exposed U-shaped connector, as you can see. And basically, it works just like one of those, but on top of that, you got these. So you can see that one up there right in the center. This one right here. It's actually a heat shrink connector with solder in the center of it. So it'll go around the wire. This right here is going to crimp down on, and then that right there is actually going to slide over the wire there, and I can actually heat shrink it with my blowtorch here. And these right here are the special tools that I've got for it. They're from Mac. Part number is right there on the handle if you want them. This is a dual joint set of pliers, so you can see the head doesn't actually stay out of square, so like the jaws move in together. So there's other ways you can do this, but this is just, in my opinion, the best way. So I'm gonna get to doing that. It's gonna take me a while, but I'm gonna set y'all back up on a time lapse, and then I'll check back in with you when I'm done. All right, so it's actually the next day. This is all I got done last night in the few hours I was over here, just cutting all the wire loom off, and I did some of the wires, but obviously I still got probably 27, 28 wires left to go just in this side. And remember, I've got to do the other side still too. But, you know, I was saying earlier that I'm going to do it inside the car, but actually now that I've got a few of them done and I know about where I'm going to be at in the vehicle and stuff like that and how much room I need to make this be within, I can actually pull it out of the vehicle now and do all my connections on the outside. That way I'm not sitting in a cramped vehicle. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. I'll put the whole wiring harness back in, double check this side, make sure everything's good with it. And then I will start on the other side, go ahead and delume it and get everything just started. And then I'll pull the whole wiring harness back out and I will do it on the outside. I'll get a couple strands done, probably 3 or 4 of them. But as you can see what I'm doing, like I showed you, I'm putting one of these on here, and we'll just do one right fast just to kind of show y'all. Let me see if y'all are zoomed in good enough. Let's see. We'll go right there. All right. So I'm going to take this purple one with a red stripe and say I'm going to go about right there with it. All right. So now what I'm going to do is follow this wire all the way till I find it right here. Now I've found it. Now I got to pull all the slack out of it. That's not the right one. My bad. Let's see. Purple and red. Is it this one? It's this one. All right. There's multiple of these wires that's got the same color in them. As you can see, even like by this one right here, this is 3 purples. All of them's got a white stripe down it. Now this one is a little bit different because it goes into one connector here and splits off 2 wires. But there's a lot of different ones that's like this in this wire loom. So now I'm gonna take this. Let me get it completely out right fast before I mess up here. All right, so now I'm gonna put them together just like that. And I'm gonna slide this out just a little bit. Give me a little bit of slack here. That's where I'm gonna cut this. So cut it just like that. Now all this 5 foot of wire, throw it over there in our pile. I'm gonna take this in. We'll strip it about 1/8 of an inch there, maybe a little bit more if I can get a good grip on this. There we go. All right, big key. I did this multiple times last night, but remember to put this little heat shrink deal over the wire first before you get started, because if you don't, you're not gonna be able to put it on after. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, take my connector here, and for instance on mine it lines up with the B, so it'll go about like that right there. You can see it real good. All right, so now I'm gonna put it inside this wire, inside this connector here. Get it to where the rubber insulator around the wire is just barely in the connector, and I'm gonna crimp it down. And then I'm gonna go up here and go ahead and crimp this around the rubber. That way it keeps this connector nice and on there and not gonna slip off. All right, now I'm gonna take this wire and twist it up a little bit. Get my wire crimpers again. Get them ready. I'm gonna slide that in right there. Not all the way in, right there, perfect. I'm gonna crimp it down. Go to this side. Get this keeper on. Crimp that in. All right, so now it looks like this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this little heat shrink / solder wire there right in place. I'm gonna take my blowtorch here, which you can use just a regular lighter. I'm just doing this to speed it up. I'm gonna heat it up. You can see it start to melt it. solder is starting to melt. Starting to leak out onto the wires. That wire gets hot. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire process of what I'm doing here. The solder just helps get into the strands inside that connector and make sure everything's got a good bite to it. Make sure it's not going to come out in the future. I shouldn't have any problems with this as far as resistance or anything like that goes. My buddy is the one that actually showed me this, and this is what he did on he did almost the exact same thing to his car, the exact same process, but and his has been running fine. So anyways, I'm gonna get back to doing this. I got probably about one less than about 26 now, 27 wires left to go. So I'm gonna put y'all up on time lapse and I'm gonna get back at it. Alright, so I went ahead and finished this off screen. I had a phone call, so kind of ended up messing up the video there at the end. But I went ahead and finished it. That's the wiring is pretty much done on this side. I've still got to follow these right here and get them cut out of the harness completely. I got some more right here I got to cut out. And then, you know, just a few little loose ends essentially I've got to figure out. I ended up cutting this harness right here completely off, which is my headlights, ambient air temp, and a few other little plugs, maybe a ground right there. So anyways, that's a blowtorch, not a gun. But anyway, so that's done. Now I've got to what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take the rest of this loom off here, and then I'm gonna run some new wire loom, which is braided wire loom. You can see that's how much wire I took all out of just on that one side. So anyways, this is the wire loom that we're gonna go with. You can see it's a nice braided wire loom. It's from Alex Tech. Looks like it's pretty good. Sorry, I'm hiccuping. It looks like it's a pretty good brand. I think it's slit all the way down the middle, so you can easily fish the wires through the loom. So I'll put the Alex Tech on there, and then I'll run some of this. This is actually called Tessa tape. You can see it right there, Tessa tape, which is electrical tape, but it's like the cloth electrical tape. If I can get it to focus, it's like cloth almost. It's just a nicer electrical tape than what you normally get. But anyways, so that pretty much is it on this. I'm gonna set y'all back up and video me running this Alex Tech. Alright, so I've pretty much got this side done. I've got it wrapped now, as you can see. Looks good everywhere. Got a plug sticking out right there. Don't really know what it goes to, but I didn't want to cut it, so I still got to do these loose ends here, and my headlight harness here, I'm gonna have to extend it, so I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm not gonna wrap it right now. I'm gonna wait till I get it in the car and see how much I'm gonna have to extend it. But anyways, I've still gotta wrap these right here, but pretty much this side is done. I gotta trace these wires back into the fuse box, cut those there. I'm not gonna depin them, I'm just gonna cut them and leave them. And then I can wrap that side with the same wire loom. This is actually 1.25 inch, so 1.25 inches. And it was a little bit big for this. I bought it expecting this to be a lot thicker still than what it actually is. I've got some 1 inch over there. I probably should have used it, and I'll probably use it on this piece right here and for this piece. But yeah, it's looking fantastic so far. I'm excited about it. The video right there. That's pretty much it. I'm not gonna film doing the other side. I don't see a point in it. It's the exact same process of what I just did on this side. So if you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.